schools are firing the teachers right before they become permanent. That is how they avoid giving benefits to the teachers. So, what is this probation period? Are the teachers that disposable? Let's explore what's happening.
So I think in order to decode this scenario, we need to firstly understand that yes, there is a hierarchy of qualifications in any school. So you have a PRT teacher, which is a primary teacher who teaches grades 1 to 5. Then there is a TGT teacher, which is a trained graduate teacher. Then there is this PGT teacher, a postgraduate teacher. That's the teacher for grade 11 and 12. So there is a variation in salary. There is a variation in the level of commitment or the expectations. But this hierarchy is only for the degrees and not for the status or dignity or respect. On those grounds, any teacher is as important as any other.
All right, we get that, but what is this word probation? Isn't just a polite word to say that you're temporary until we drop you?
So probation is the official word for the trial period, which is usually for a teacher for a period of 6 to 12 months. Now, during this time, a teacher could evaluate the school and the school could evaluate and assess the teacher. Now, this is where all the lesson planning and the academic portfolio or the class management, everything about the teacher can be assessed. And yes, the termination can happen within these 12 months. However, over time, schools have begun misusing this probation period. Now, the teachers are made to work, let's say, for 12 to 15 hours, which is actually what the teachers are really unofficially working. And then they can be terminated right before their probation ends and they are to be made permanent. And that's when a new teacher is hired and the cycle is repeated. That's how the school gets to avoid all those organized sector norms like paid leaves or having to pay the benefits like PF or gratuity. And it saves on its costs.
So you mean that the teachers can be fired unfairly in the name of probation?
And that is the loophole in this probation period, because the teachers are fired on the name of poor performance, although there is no documented proof as such. But that works as a disgrace for the teacher, because now when the teacher applies for the next school, let's say, but why wasn't she made permanent in the previous school, becomes a reason not to make her permanent yet again. So in a way, the vicious circle repeats.
So isn't that unfair for the teachers?
Absolutely. It is unfair only if the teacher doesn't know what she's really signing up for. If the teacher doesn't really track the probation date carefully, if she doesn't prepare her lesson plans and documents her class performance. Even if she applies for the next job, she could show her class lesson plans and everything documented. I think for all the parents out there, if you really value this teaching profession and if you want to showcase your respect for the teachers, you should demand stable faculty from the schools, stable teachers from the schools, so that the schools can actually not keep on terminating teachers before time. And that is when the probation period would truly become the probation evaluation period that it is and not a conspiracy.